Hello, and welcome to the Verbal Edge. I'm Elizabeth Nulf MacDonald, Communication Coach. This program is for you who values effective and essential communication skills. Communication in writing and speaking and presenting yourself and your message. And I want to ask you a question. Is it worth it to you to have that crucial conversation? Is it worth it for you to be in that job that you don't appreciate or you don't want to get up in the morning to go to? Is it worth it to you to stay in that relationship? Well, it takes work, and some of us don't really want to do it. Well, today we're going to learn some skills that we will then use to master those. And a person who is going to stretch us in that area is Melissa Jaegle, who is the owner of Master Consultants. And Melissa, welcome to the Verbal Edge.
Thank you. I enjoy you anytime I'm with you, and it's fun to be here.
Thank you. And we have been friends for a long time, and this is the first time we've done television together.
I know. We need to go on the road. Are you ready for this?
That's right. I'm eager, and I'll warn you about something. This is going to go so fast. And I also told my family, okay, I'm interviewing Melissa today, which means that I could introduce her and then just walk off the set because you have so much you can talk about. I've heard you present in many areas, and you are a storehouse of how-tos on communication skills. So we actually had to hone it down to a particular focus.
We did, but I have a story I want to tell you about that because it was a few years ago. I was doing a seminar down in Indianapolis and for a group of veterinarians, and we were doing long-range planning. I was actually 8 hours interacting with this group. When it was all over, I went downstairs. My husband and I were ready to come back up to Fort Wayne. And I said, honey, I bet you I said 1 million words today. And you know what he said? He said, I bet you have plenty for the way home, though. Uh-oh, I thought, are you saying I talk a lot, honey? But it is true. I love to share ideas, concepts, and anything that helps support someone's quality of life or the return on what they're contributing.
Tell us about Master Consultants. What is your role, and why did it start?
Wow, okay, I'm going to make this simple. 35 years ago, I was in real estate, and I sold lots of real estate, and I found that I loved the people I was serving, but I most enjoyed the training I did for new salespeople that came in. As a result, I found that people grew and to a greater level of earnings and learnings, if you will. They learned a lot, and I thought, I love this. I want to help anybody I can do better, be better. And so that evolved into an opportunity to start a consulting company. And we just went from there, and I've been in Fort Wayne with this business now over 35 years.
What exactly do you do with Master Consultants? What types of consulting do you do?
Well, we're in the people business, so I do a lot of emotional quotient. I do conflict resolution, communication, long-range planning. I help companies hire for the cultural fit. We do strategic goals, job descriptions, lots of things, but it all evolves around the people and how they fit and their greatest utilization.
At the beginning of the show, I said, do you want to enter that crucial conversation? You do, and you do it with bosses, don't you, who hire you?
Every day, I get the opportunity to share thoughts, concerns, communication challenges that what I would say is that we help cover the blind spot in people's corporate careers or their companies. And everyone we work with is very successful. They don't need us, but we enjoy the relationship where we come in and we have the opportunity to see the people, see the culture, and talk about how they can fit just a little bit better. It's a great privilege to be a part of the companies that we work with.
What motivates a company to call Master Consultants?
Normally, we are on a referral basis now. They've heard maybe that we can come in and recognize their people's strengths, recognize areas that teams can work better, more effectively. We can help them hire more effectively or think about how they need to hire. It's a hard journey. It's a tough journey to make sure when you're interviewing someone, between the interview and the beginning of their the career with that company, are they seeing all the potential and are they entering the workforce correctly? Because those first 6 weeks, you know, if you're at a new company, those first 5 days are very difficult to remember the names of the people you're with, that nerve thing. So we begin in all kinds of areas, but we help people grow to their capacity and be utilized, like I say, essentially by those companies. So they may hear about us. A lot of it's word of mouth now.
When you come in, what do you do to prepare?
I pray. That's what I do. And I ask a lot of questions. I go in with no preconceived ideas. I don't like to do a lot of study on the companies because I learn a company through the people. So I actually go in pretty blind and just meet with the chief executive officers or the different general managers, operations people, CFOs. Say, what are you about? What's your mission? What's your purpose?
Many times, my guess is that when you're in there, and you talked about blind spots, maybe some of those blind spots are the CEOs. Do you then have a talk with the CEO?
We always say, oh, King live forever, if you will. You know, we come in and we say, but these are areas that we've recognized that you're not getting the greatest return you could. And it's because many times your people don't understand. I said this the other day in a meeting. If two generals are in a tent at war and all the soldiers are out there waiting on their command, many times the message does not get to these soldiers. Why? The generals understand the purpose of the war, but many times, if you will, the soldiers or the employees don't understand always what's going on in the heart of the executives. So the longest trip in the world is from the head to the heart. And what we want to make sure is that people understand the culture, the mission, the purpose. Clients are providing great services, but do all the people understand where they fit? If I'm just making, let's say, this particular product in this particular part of the line, or if I'm simply managing this set of papers, what you're really doing is you're producing this end result, and you are a huge part of the delivery of a satisfied customer. You're not just a part of this little piece. You're a contributing partner in the whole. So we want people to capture the vision. And a lot of times we presume that people have that vision. And they don't.
What do you do when you find out they don't have it?
What we do is we make sure that the message is restated in a way to meet people where they are. Many times we think, well, we'll talk in words like, do you understand what I'm saying? Rather than saying, am I making sense? See, I want to put that burden on me. It's my responsibility to deliver the message to you. It's not your responsibility because you work with me or for the company for you to understand all the intent of that company. It's my job to make sure that that mission is really healthily communicated to you so you understand why we're working together.
Now, when you say my, are you talking about Melissa Jaegle my, or are you talking about what you're wanting to have the CEO do?
The CEO.
Okay, so you're wanting the CEO to make sure that he or she communicates that. How best, besides, is that clear? I'm guessing too you might want to ask them, what do you see as the mission?
Well, we talk a lot about the mission. Pardon me. We talk a lot about the mission. I think what we really do is we want to have the other leadership teams, the other department heads, the supervisors, everyone have that buy-in. Do we all know why we're here? Do we know why we're here? We know what we're here for, but do we know why we're here for this? So it can get, our philosophy and our mission can get lost in the doing rather than the provision and contributing. Make sense?
Yes, and it strikes me as such a magnanimous gesture on the part of the CEOs to have master consultants come in, because that person at the helm knows that he or she will also be critiqued if things aren't quite right, or strong suggestions. I know you well enough to know that you are a direct person with your communication skills and what you find. What has been, can you do an average result? What comes as a result of master consultants coming in and consulting?
We had great joy most recently. We had a company that, great intentions, tremendous company, very highly skilled people, But there was a disconnect. And what we found out that if they just did a 10-minute stand-up meeting first thing in the morning with a small group of the leaders, they reconnected, reassessed any, talked about any concerns. Not a big deal, but it was just that, hey, we appreciate you. What can we do to help support your area? We're here for you in leadership. And it's just consistently communicating that eye contact, that I'm available to you, we want to serve you. And when that just is escalated a little bit, that interest provides people an open door so they can say back to them, I did think about this yesterday. Am I making sense? Yes. I'm always asking, am I making sense?
Yes. What do you say to employees to help them communicate better with their CEOs or their direct supervisors?
A lot of times we ask the employees what they appreciate most about their work, what skills and abilities they have that they enjoy using most. Many times we just avoid what we don't like to, what we don't do well. It's not necessarily, we don't want to do what we don't do well.
Yes.
We gravitate toward where our highest skill levels are. So it's helping, what we like to do is when we work with people saying, does your job give you enough satisfaction to do the hard jobs, to do the things you normally would procrastinate or put off? Do you have enough joy here to take the things that don't give you quite as much joy? Because all of our jobs, let's face it, it's hard to go to work every day, in and out. And I love my work, but there are days when I have to do the things I don't love.
Do you also counsel people on how to talk to their supervisors, or do you have them say, I'm struggling with this, or I believe my gifts are in another area. Can you talk to me about putting me in another area or giving this to someone else? Does that ever take place, or do you have your clients just say, okay, I'll do it regardless of whether I like it or not?
I'm going to talk about sports for a moment. It's interesting that anyone who has an athlete, or let's say that they're in even a dance recital, it can be any kind of a program. It can be theater. You have producers and directors who take a true interest in bringing the very best out of every player, whether they're the actor or actress, whether they're on the field or they're shooting baskets. Go Butler, I guess this is right around the NCAA, right? But you have people that pay attention, and that's what managers and leaders are to do. They're supposed to be able to listen well to their people, pay attention to their skills, and grow and develop their skills. How much more fun is it when you have somebody truly interested? So those leaders cannot be detached. They can't just go to their office and say, I already told them once how to do it. They need to interact with how it's done, when it's done, why it's done, and then compliment them on doing it. And when you have that kind of a communication going, people excel in that environment.
I'm going to go back to what if it's not the right fit for the employee? What if the employee would like to do something else?
The employee, what they want to do is it an avocation that they're just not getting rewarded personally? Are they not doing something outside of work that could reward them?
How about if they've been given a task after they were hired and it's just not in their gifting or their interest? Can they go to their supervisor, and if so, what would they say?
A lot of times that's a really scary thing. Mm-hmm. And what I recommend is this, and the role play would be this. I would come to you and say, Elizabeth, I started here a year and a half ago, and you've been a great boss. I know I have a lot of different things on my plate now. When I originally started, I understood I did these key functions. These were the important items that I took action every day on. You've placed some other things on my plate. There are things I don't do as well or I'm not as comfortable with. I will learn those things, and I will give effort to those things if it's really important to you. But just know that that is not really what I felt I was to offer you originally. Now that has to be done very carefully because you don't want to lose your job unless you just get into a point where they've given you totally opposite, and then you have to figure out, if I'm a soccer player, I need to be in a soccer game. If I'm a basketball player, so if it's opposite to who you are, you'll hate it. But hopefully it's going to that person and saying, what is best for the company? And if this is best for the company, then I will do everything I can to learn it, but I may have to leave it. and you don't want to really have to have that conversation, but you do want to offer your leader or whoever your supervisor is an option to help you grow, learn, develop that skill, and or walk into the skill you do best, because you will not get a good evaluation if you're not doing your skill well.